You are at Lake Rant, where I rant about whatever my $15 a month plus patrons want me to rant about. You can get one of these by being one of those. This one's for John, who says, rant about Mr. Beast. What makes him a YouTube darling? How do his videos average 20 million views? Do you think he's sincere, or is it all an act? Please evaluate his 7-year-old channel and estimate the sustainability of his current content. I don't know what you mean by an act. I think he's completely sincere, because nothing he said has led me to think that, like, he's got some crazy altruistic purpose. He kind of just seems like a guy who thinks it's really funny to fuck with people by doing crazy things that happen to be positive, you know? It's like he's kind of like a reverse prank channel in a way, and it's a more expensive and more difficult way to make videos. It's especially a difficult way to like have to constantly come up with new ideas of like how to push the envelope in that field. So I definitely think he's very respectable as a creator in that regard, and those videos don't seem easy to make a lot of the time. You know, the one I've only really watched one of his videos, which was the one where they bought everything in a grocery store and donated it all to food banks. But it's like the point of it isn't the it's not the altruism that is the point. That is just a happy accident of the fact that this is good clickbait. And Mr. Beast has completely mastered clickbait because he understands that it's all about the scope and size of what you're doing, and whether or not people are surprised. And like, it's one thing, let's say a new Marvel movie comes out and you're like, this Marvel movie fucking sucks, and that's your title. Anybody can do that. It's endlessly reproducible. Maybe you've got a unique angle, but people are only going to know that once they know who you are. So like, in the heat of the moment of that movie being relevant, maybe you've got a shot at some kind of attention. But, like, if you put out, like, I gave a guy $1 million, like, that's always going to be shocking because nobody else can do it. You have to have a lot of money in the first place, and you have to be, like, it's like only the guy who has the money and the means, the wherewithal, can set it up. So if you see it, you're always going to be like, well, that's something I've never seen before. I've never seen a guy buy everything in a grocery store. I want to know what that looks like. So it's very pure. It's very effective, classical kind of clickbait, and I think he does it well. The quality is high on a lot of the content. The stuff he does is like stuff that most of us would not do. Like there are YouTubers who could afford to do the types of videos he does, but they won't because they'd rather spend all their money on having nice cars and shit. And it's like, when you think of it from his perspective, having as much money as he seems to have, you would never know what the fuck to do with it. Like, there'd be no fucking, like, what the fuck am I supposed to do with all this money other than have fun with it? Just have crazy, weird, unique experiences, interact with tons of people, and be this guy who everybody likes because of the fact that what I've chosen to do with my money is something that helps people, even if it's only helping people really in service of the fact that it would be interesting to see how those people would react to, receiving what he's giving. So, yeah, I think he basically just, like, cracked the code on like, exactly what YouTube would be about. Like, what would just make the most sense? Like, what would be the biggest videos on YouTube? I think he solved that mystery and is just fucking doing it. So, more power to him, I guess.